Hello, everyone. It's great to be here. So, my testimony goes back over 30 years, and I was just starting college when I got witnessed to. Prior to that, I had a church upbringing in Church of Christ, and so Church of Christ, they kind of have their own set of rules about, they claim to be non-denominational, but they have very specific rules about everything. And a lot of those rules were good. They took a stand on things like saying you had to be baptized for salvation. They would take communion every week. They took a stand on immorality in the church. But they were missing one thing that was super essential, and that's the Holy Spirit. They didn't believe that you could receive the Holy Spirit and speak in tongues like the people in the Bible did. And so I was baptized there when I was about 12 years old, but I was told that when I got baptized, I was going to receive the Holy Spirit, but nothing changed. And I was really disappointed because I felt like it was my fault that nothing changed. And so I went my way, and I also suffered from a lot of depression as a child. And so when I was a teenager, I got involved in the punk rock scene back in the 80s. And so at that point, my life just revolved around hanging out with really unstable people and just drinking and taking drugs a lot. And at the same time, I had this conviction that was going to lead me straight to hell. And so I tried to go back to church and found it pretty much impossible. I either would show up with a hangover, or I would just sleep through my alarm clock going off and not make it at all. So I was feeling really guilty, and just praying that the Lord would help me change my life. And so I started studying the Bible with some of my friends, some of my punk rock friends, and I guess a year prior there had been an outreach. Some saints from Australia came over, and they preached the gospel, and some friends of my friends had come to the Lord. And so one of those friends came to our Bible study, which was just at a friend's apartment, and he had been healed from a drug addiction, and he was saying that we needed to receive the Holy Spirit, and that when we did, we would speak in tongues, and that we would not want to do those, the partying lifestyle anymore. It would be easy to change. So that was exactly what I was looking for, but I was skeptical of speaking in tongues because I'd been taught that people doing or claiming to do things like that were just being emotional. But yet, I was reading John the Baptist, where he said, I baptize you with water, but one's coming after me who's greater, and he'll baptize you with the Holy Ghost and fire. And that sounded like something really powerful that I had never experienced. And I didn't know exactly what it meant, but this person was offering something like that spectacular, that I could speak in tongues and have a sign from God. So I had to find out if it was true or not. So I called Pastor Dave kind of late at night, and I told him I was coming to his church. I'd never met him before. And so I went and I got baptized, and I really didn't want to, only because I felt like baptism wasn't going to save me from my life. I'd already done that, but yet I knew I needed to do whatever it took to get the Holy Spirit, so I did it. And a few weeks later, I received the Holy Spirit again at that same apartment. We had kind of like a prayer-a-thon. So after a lot of praying, I wasn't even trying. I had been trying for weeks. When I stopped trying, which is sort of like not even working hard to receive it, it was just there, and completely changed my life. And it was everything that John the Baptist said it would be. And within a year, my mom, my stepdad, my aunt and uncle, they all came to the Lord as well. And that was really amazing, and they're still in the Lord. And the Lord just gave me a totally blessed life. And I have 4 kids, and I'm raising my grandson. So it's a lot of work. I can't do it on my own. I always like to be an independent person, but God showed me that you can't be that person. When you're in the Lord, you have to depend on others. And so a lot of people helped me along the way, a lot of the brothers and sisters in my family. But the Lord is like, whenever there's a need, he's always there to fulfill the need. It's amazing. And I do have some healing testimonies. I had a doctor tell me one time that I had either rheumatoid arthritis or it was either that or lupus. And he had to backtrack, and because I never developed symptoms like the severe symptoms of that, never had to be on medication for that. And I've had other like chronic illnesses. They would like things that like intestinal problems and stuff. I had like some inflammation in my esophagus, it would close up. And some of these things I suffered with for years, but I didn't get an instant healing, but there were times when I would feel sort of overwhelmed because I had like 2 or 3 things at once, feeling like, and I had them for years, feeling like I was never going to get the victory. But I would just think about that story where I don't remember the name of the king or the name of the details, but the one where there was a famine in I think Israel, and people were being starved, and within one day, everything turned around, and they had food, and there was one person that didn't believe, and that person ended up, I believe, getting trampled by a mob. And I would just think of that, like, in one day, the Lord can turn the situation around. And that gave me hope to just keep going, and the situation got better. I also, one of my daughters got abducted before. Somebody flew across the country and tried to take her to Virginia. And we had no idea this was happening. And in the morning, I went to get her up for school. It was during COVID. And so she was doing school from home. She also had a lot of anxiety at the time, so she would barely leave the house. And she wasn't in her room. And so this person had taken her. And by lunchtime, he had been arrested, and she was safe in another state. And the Lord just moved quickly. All these things fell into place to make that happen. And it was like within the last 10 minutes before she got off the plane in Colorado that they could make this legal arrest. Things just fell into place within the last 10 minutes for them to be able to do this. And by that evening, Homeland Security flew her home. And things like that, like you just see that the Lord really loves us and just provides everything that we need at the right time. And that's it. Thank you.